Okay, and welcome back to another episode of Chris's Attic. This time, we are going to take a look at some of these other totes that are down here. I forget what's in here. Oh, these are some old random starting lineups. Nothing really good in there. I was selling them for a buck at a sale. I remember getting a lot of them pretty cheap at the time. Back in the day, early 90s, that's anything in there. That's my son's stuff. When I worked at Toys R Us in the early 90s for like maybe a season, one of the things we used to do is we would read for their starting lineups. And at the time, they were very popular. Now, not so much. And there's Mario again. So we're going to check under here because this one's got some pretty cool stuff in it. Recently put these in a new tote. These are some of my Jamma arcade boards. Obviously one of them is Raiden DX, and the boards are basically these big circuit boards. I mean, I think I have about 7 games there, 6 games. They're all kind of wrapped, and I probably shouldn't be storing them like this. I know I'm going to get called out in the video, but this was at the time. I mean, I've had these things for over 20 years, and I just never had a proper place to really store them. I'm just happy they're all in one piece. They have been checked recently. I did have them this time last year. I did load them all up in the actual Jamma cabinet, but you can see these things they're basically big cartridges without the plastic shell around them. And at the time, I had gotten a Raiden DX. It wasn't even an actual Raiden DX cabinet off of eBay, and I think I paid $249 for it. This was like 1999, 98, and it originally was a Victory Road cabinet that somebody retrofitted to look like Raiden DX. So they basically just swapped the board out, and everything can be swapped in and out, and it came with the artwork, and you were able to easily just put in any game you want as long as it met the standards of the Jamma circuit board. So in here we have this is my Super Nintendo Super Scope. What's great is it still has a sticker on it from when it was originally purchased from back at Toys R Us. At the time, anytime you bought any kind of hardware from them in their game department, it even says right there, Nintendo products. February 1992. They used to slap that on here. It should be all there. I think, sadly, I don't think my adapter for the television is in there. It's around somewhere. So let's see. We got some PlayStation memory cards. These were 50% off the time, so that means they were $5. Always nice to have them handy. Don't think I opened it. It's a little plastic brittle on the side there. This is my box from my Nintendo DSi XL. I like saving some boxes sometimes. Here's a random copy of Gun Valkyrie for an Xbox I no longer have. Couple Nintendo games. Still have my Nintendo Power stickers on there. My Dreamcast is down here. It was one of the original models, so it was easily played in. Yeah, could easily copy discs for it. The piracy was so rampant. Some of these Nintendo games I got after the fact, real cheap somewhere. I never owned these. There's Tomb Raider. Oh, here we go. This is great. This is my Yoda puppet, which I've had since, gosh, I think I was 8 years old. He came out in, I want to say, 1981. I used to love this guy. Let me see. I don't want to be too embarrassing, but I had so many good memories with this guy. He was so cool at the time when I was a kid. I used to like messing with his head, making his look like somebody lobotomized him by doing this to his head. Probably can't do it right now with one hand. but when you look at him head on, and then I would let his head slowly suck out. Boop. What else is in here? Alien toy, squirt water out of its head. Army Men Air Attack, it's sealed. Let's say here. A custom case for my Wii Sports. Looks really well done, actually. It looks pretty much legitimate, even though it was a pack-in. But it was a nice way to keep it protected, because all it came in was some little mailer, which here it is. It was like a little flimsy cardboard mailer. So that disc is in primo shape. So under here, let me see if I can get to this. Unfortunately, I have to do this with my hands. I'm a high-tech. I don't have a cameraman, unfortunately. I have one like Shane R. Monroe does. Let's see here. Some paraphernalia. There is my boxed. I had to write my name on there because I didn't want anybody else to take it thinking, oh, that's mine. No, it's not. It's mine. That's why I wrote my name on it. There's an original PS1 7000 model. That thing is all boxed up. I think I've used it 3 times. I got it purely just as a backup system. I chipped it up. This is also a chip system that I was kind of using at the time, so that I need to use my main one. Alright, put this back here. Oops, sorry, Yoda. I don't want to crush you. Back when they made toys really durable. Yeah, you can't get rid of them nowadays, can you? I think this is just a bag of, yeah, these are Mario plushies. Oh, my mom and my sister were living out in Washington. They sent me a ton of those. Box of what's left of my DVDs. Most of these DVDs are ones that are, for the most part, ones that I didn't want to part with. Especially some of the ones that you can't really get anymore. At least nowadays, they're a little more expensive on the aftermarket. There's my Three's Company. I've got all these on box sets. Transformers Season 1. I don't know why I bought that. I was never a huge Transformers fan, but these Mystery Science Series, you can't. Oh, I love this one. This is great. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of leftover DVDs. No, I'm not going to bore anybody with all these DVDs in here. So moving on. I'm sure I can get that one out. So for now, I'm going to just jump over here and show you what I have here. This is the. I was a big Commodore kid growing up, so I always had the VIC-20, which we hooked to the TV at the time. But then, shortly after that, the 64 came out. And my father's always on the edge of technology, so of course he said, well, that's obviously a better computer. Let's upgrade. And back then it was funny. You could take these things back to the store, even like a year later, and they would swap out your system for a new one. So finally, after the C64 came and went, we upgraded again to the 128, and that is what we have here. Unfortunately, I was never a big fan of the 128. I still prefer my Commodore 64. I just have a real deep nostalgia for that beige box, and this 128 really didn't afford us much difference in terms of gameplay. I think I was expecting a little more to be coming out of this, and ended up you really didn't get a lot of extras. I mean, you had that extra RAM. So for me, when I booted this thing up, it was always go 64, because that was what I was familiar with, and I knew everything was just going to work for me. So underneath this, let me see if I can open this real quick, is the model 1702 video monitor, which is from Commodore. It goes with this 128, and it went with my 64 before it, and it still works great. As a matter of fact, I think about 5 or 6 years ago, I even had it hooked up to my old original NES, which I still own after all these years, and it works great. Even as a kid, I always preferred the video output that this thing gave to the NES compared to my TV via the RF cables. So even though I was about 14 years old, I was all ready for a higher video standard than RF. This is some random motherboard from one of my PCs I had back in the day. I was always putting together my computers anytime after I realized it was easy to do, circa 1997. So what I have here, actually I think I put a couple of them underneath the book here. Yeah, these are some PC games I have. So I got Cell R7, and that is Out of This World. These are all still in the box. I think I have some more somewhere. I love the Sierra games. We used to have so much fun with them. Very ridiculously hard and even unfair at times. There's Battle Chess. These are all PC DOS ones. Space Quest, Bard's Tale Construction Set, which in theory should have been really cool, but I was never able to really get into it. I could never really figure out, or have the time anyway, to sit and play with this. I always just rather played the real game, Bard's Tale, one that was already created. Hexen, another kind of a little disappointing after Heretic. I was a huge fan of Heretic, but something about Hexen didn't go as well over with me. Beast Quest 3, big fan of these. And this is great. This is Wolfenstein Spear of Destiny. And at the time, I actually mailed away for this. I even have the booklets in here. Let's take a look real quick, because let me see what this is. At the time, you had to send away for this. And you would get, here's one of these old magazines I used to advertise for. This actually has, I don't know why I read, see the address, I guess you just did though, but Spear of Destiny, here's what the code, make you indestructible, thanks for purchasing. And at the time, this was mailed out. You know, it was doing a lot of mail order at the time. And this was before I hit the store shelves. So this is a very cool piece, I think, because I remember specifically sending away for this. These binders are just some video CDs of movies. I really should just probably chuck them. I own most of them on DVD at this point anyway. So let's see, what else do we have going on up here? Refrigerator, this is boring stuff. Okay, I think I'm going to need 2 hands for this. I'm going to put you down for a minute. So, what we have in here is a lot of my leftover books, mostly fantasy and D&D type books. I always thought these omnibuses are really cool because they had everything in one, and Amazon would sell them at the time for like $12. I mean, you had this is like, I think 4 books all in one. I was always a big fan of this particular series of Forgotten Worlds with this dark elf character. Skeleton Crew, one of my favorite all-time Stephen King books. Here's another Dark Elf trilogy. I've never sat and finished them all. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one I've got my hardback annotated chronicles. Very cool to look at, but not very functional to carry around. And a little beat and a little worn from a couple moves I made, unfortunately. But this was a cool book because on the side here they would put little notations about where certain things were going in the book, and it was almost like a pop-up video kind of thing where you'd read the book and it would tell you. Geez, I already read that one. Yeah, so anyway, these are mostly just some of my bulk set. Unfortunately, I've seen better days, and probably shouldn't have stored in these boxes. I've learned since then it's best to use totes. This box up here, I think I put got a few of these guys. I found them pretty cheap at GameStop of all places. They were clearing them out. I think I paid $15 for him. Let's see. Same with this one. I think I paid $15, $20 a piece. These things were a lot more money at the time, but then they ended up. This one I got for Christmas. I like him. I'm a big Zelda fan, so. These are more the books in here. This is actually a pretty good box because this has all the rest of my paperbacks in it, including These are these endless adventure books. I used to love these as a kid. Some of these are ones I've had since I was a younger kid. I used to buy these at KB Toys. They had them for like 2 for $1. I remember buying a bunch of them. And some of them I got at a used bookstore, like this one here up in Philadelphia, which is no longer around. They were clearing them out for like $1 a book, and they're in pristine condition, other than the fact they're a little yellowed. Also a bunch of Doctor Who books, which I used to love getting these Doctor Who books. It's a company called Target, no relation to the store I used to put these books out. And they were very cool because they weren't just the scripts from the show. They were they had a lot of original elements in them, and it was always kind of cool. There's more of these D&D books. I love the old price tags. Look at this. B. Dalton, $2. That's so cool. I actually have a couple of that one, I think. Got more than I thought I did, actually. Fire Seed, Circus of Fear, Robbers and Robots, and Spell the Wind. This is one of the originals I had. The artwork is so great on these. Yeah, all the great guys. I think this is a Larry Elmore, right? Yep, here he is, Elmore. Love his books. Artwork. Here's my original copy of Dragons of Autumn Twilight, which I bought for $3.95 back in 1985. Back when it first came out. Such a cool book. One of my favorite, probably my favorite book series of all time. I know Shane R. Monroe, who named himself after the book, would understand how I feel about that. And I think this is another one of his favorites right here. This series right here. I think I read book 1 of it. I never got to read them all. So let me see if I can put this back without destroying anything. Just gonna pop that up. And on top is this Making of Star Wars, which was a very cool book. I always liked these books. I liked seeing all the artwork and things that went into the creation of the Star Wars series. I was a big fan of Star Wars back then. Thanks to Disney, it kind of tainted my feel for it. Make sure these books are getting all wrinkled up here. I gotta put them in these too because I don't want them to get ruined. Link back up here real quick. So I think that's about it for this episode. I have a few other little boxes I can go through, but they're mostly just knickknacks. These are computer parts. I may go down and check out some of the other sections, not necessarily in the attic, but elsewhere that I keep more of my crap that I'm sure my wife would prefer me to throw out. But some of this stuff I just can't part with right now, even though I have tried to do what I can to get rid of a lot of it. I wish I could put some like nice flooring up here, but yeah, I think that's about it for now. I showed you that one as a Typhoid. That's not even. That's just a remake of one of the old ones. That's good. This TV. This is a Sony Bravia, which is hysterical. I found this out in our trash dumpster. Rob D would be proud of me for that. When I went out to take some trash out, I saw somebody bought a new LCD TV, and for some reason I said, wait a minute, what's that little shiny glint of reflection coming out of that box? Turns out they threw their old Sony Bravia flat screen in there, and I said, well, what the heck. I walked it back over, plugged it in when I got home, and it came on. And it's actually a very nice picture. Kept that in the bedroom for a while. Don't have a remote, but we hooked a Roku to it. It's all good. So next time I'll show you some more stuff. Probably downstairs. I'll be more under the bed this time, where I keep more of my other junk. So anyway, thanks for tuning in again. Bye.